This is Gary Butterfield,
This is Cole Ross,
and this is Monster, my podcast.
and these are Dark Nagas.
There's a monster in my podcast.
Yes. Again, I feel uncomfortable. Yeah, so, like, the Monsters Manual thinks that giving something wizard powers makes it cooler than it does.
Yes, but in reality, all it just says is it casts as an X-level wizard, and here are some spells that it tends to know.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, change its culture, really. It just gives it more. Like, any of these cultural traits could apply to these other ones, which get their powers naturally, right?
Exactly. This could have been a sub-entry in the last thing. Easy.
Yeah.
So it's just a wizard Naga. And the only real difference to them is that it gives them a little bit more of what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But what they want to do is just mysterious and dumb. So it's like, I want to make this desert into a forest. Yeah. And it says in one sentence, it says, it'll be inscrutable like that. But then it says it will always advance them and make them more powerful. I don't know how making a desert into a forest makes you more powerful.
No, and I mean, like unless you're on an alien planet, you're trying to, the Martian yourself out.
Yeah, like if you just don't, like you sky drop a bunch of Dark Naga to terraform a planet.
Yeah.
Before you get there, but then how is it doing it? Like it's just you're still just a snake with a human head. Like I don't get these guys.
There's nothing special about you, and the fact that you can like set a goal and then move implacably toward it. It's kind of like when an older person who can't hear gets in their head that they're going to go do something, and then they just like shamble toward it.
Yeah,
you can't stop them.
Yeah, it's just that they're unstoppable. In the case of my grandma's an unstoppable hugger, not like you just can't get in their way because she's too sweet. So I just don't get them. And the other thing is that they have this like impermeable sack.
Yes.
It's like a whole paragraph on this stupid sack.
It's like what they have instead of like taking their shirt and using it as like a way to carry fruit or something.
Yeah. Yeah, they have this little waterproof like pouch that you can take if you want it, and you get all the powers of having a waterproof pouch. If you want, like a backpack, like a good backpack from like an outdoor store.
Yeah.
Go fight this like poison monster. Yeah.
But then you get this sentence: they are bisexual and give birth to a squirming mass of many. That doesn't mean what you think it means, man.
Yeah, I thought that too. At first, I was like, "Is this the first bi monster?" Like,
good. You just reverse the erasure. Like it's fluid. It's continuing.
But what they mean is that they auto procreate. Like they are. The words escaping right now, but
I want to say hermaphroditic, but.
Yeah, but some flavor of. I think they probably meant hermaphroditic.
Yeah,
based on that,
almost like an earthworm, right?
Yes, that's what they meant. But they said bisexual instead because it's like yes, our face
because it's the 70s. I've had it stuck in my head because I think I saw this movie on TV when I was home a couple weeks ago. But it's like Anchorman when the weather guy Brick is up there describes the Midwest as the Middle East. Like that is exactly what this looks like. Like, you just didn't have the right word for it, did you, buddy?
Yeah. Well, that's a good movie.
That's pretty good. Second one's, but
I laughed at the second one. Like, it's not good,
but it's
I still laughed.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's not great. Abs. Yeah. So
I like how hard they have to work. They're like little Frank Grimeses because they don't have hands. They can't cast spells with somatic components, so they have to study for years and years.
They learn that magic feat.
Yeah.
One of the things, so they're immune. They don't have telepathic ability, but you can't mind read them. One of the things that I mentioned earlier in this recording session, how I reread the Grant Morrison X-Men. One of the details I love about it is, he includes a lot of characters who are immune to mind reading and telepathy. But it's never like, oh, I just can't get in. It's always like when you try to read Phantom X's mind, you just get this field of white flowers.
Yeah.
And when you try to read, Cassandra Nova's mind, it's just like crawling bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Like you get these images that say something about the character rather than just like, don't work, And it's like, oh, this is why you're a good writer and other writers are bad.
Yeah.
Because this is good
they created a sandbox for you.
Yeah.
Relevant
detail.
I shit you not, Gary. I was driving into work today and I was listening to Insomnia by Stephen King. They described some beetles, and I thought like, the black bug room is a really good idea.
Oh yeah.
I was just thinking,
very good.
I was just thinking about that thing for a minute from a Grant Morrison book.
It's exceptional. And like one of the greatest slaps on I mean, this is totally off topic, but again, we threatened to get here at some point. It was going to be in Saga, but now it's in Dark Naga. Yeah. One of the greatest things about not the greatest things, but one of the weirdest things about that run is that, if you read them in collected editions, you probably didn't read it. There's 2 actual comics that came after it that are still called New X-Men, that were written by, as opposed to the best Marvel writer, the worst Marvel writer, Chuck Austen.
Ugh.
And it's just supposed to be setting up like the new status quo,
right? Like setting up for Joss Whedon's run, right?
Joss Whedon, like it was more like just the X-Men universe in general.
Okay.
You know, so it, you know, it's not particularly, you know, important really, but he is one of the worst writers that I've ever read anything.
Okay.
You know, doing anything, and it's such a whiplash. Like you're reading it and it's like, it's a real, like, even because it's the last arc in that, which is the one in the future that's not particularly good.
Right. I was going to say, like, I think that I really would have a better opinion of that last arc if it had better art.
Yeah. I mean, there's the biggest problem with it. Like reading it again, it's actually like cool stuff happens in it.
Yeah.
There are cool ideas in that arc. It is amazing whiplash to go to Chuck Austen, who's also like really famously made Nightcrawler's dad Satan and all these, you know, and all these, like when he co-wrote X-Men 2 and did a featurette that said Nightcrawler has 2 dicks. Like there's a DVD special featurette that is Chuck Austen talking about Nightcrawler has 2 dicks.
Was he the guy who wrote just like, oh, there are like 9 Nightcrawlers and they all like cavort around when they're in the, was he that guy?
Yeah, he's there's lots of Nightcrawlers in his universe. Ugh. He's really into like all mutants that are kind of animal like are part of a big tribe. Yeah. So like all of like Sabretooth, all the like animalistic like wolf, you know, ones belong to the same thing. All the angel ones belong to the same thing, and they're all actually angels, actual devils.
A library of beasts.
Actual werewolves. Yeah, it's the worst. Yeah. Like he's the worst. His arc before that I read, there's this whole thing about slipping the Pope a magic communion wafer that makes it, or so getting a Nightcrawler installed as the Pope. This is his plan. You get Nightcrawler to be your Pope. Then you give him a magic communion wafer that gets rid of his disguise so he looks like Satan to ruin faith in the Catholic Church. That's like a villain's plot in a Chuck Austen X-Men run.
Ugh. It's like some Dan Brown shit.
It is the worst. Like he is the worst. And it comes right after Grant Morrison's like sublime like shit. No pun intended. Like it is so good and so bad. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm very happy that my gigantic book that is actually way too big to read ends where it does.
I got one of those too, and they're kind of fun. Yeah, but yeah, they're too big to read.
Yeah,
I don't have anything to say about this Naga anymore. Like I don't know. We've been recording for a long time.
We have, yeah. So like I'm a little bit behind the scenes. We usually record these for about like an hour and 10 minutes, something like that.
Yeah,
we're on 220. Behold It Fest took a chunk out of us. So I hope you understand if we just say, that's all, folks.
Yeah, and we regularly record for longer than that, but not this show, which like requires like it's a certain amount of quickness and onness that it doesn't require for our normal drab and intellectual watch out for fireball sessions where when we're tired of making jokes, we can just talk about defensive vocabulary and like character motivations and shit.
So we hope you understand.
We hope you understand. We'll see you guys next week with brand new monsters.
Yep. Can't wait for the Neogi. I haven't read their entry.
Yogi, okay. They're like the weird spider horses, I think. Yeah. They're okay.
Brought to you by our backers at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv.